From a really young age, I had a strong feeling like my family of origin was not a healthy place, and I couldn't always put my finger on exactly what was wrong. And it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I found people that really validated this perspective in any kind of meaningful way. I had always just been taught that basically I was the problem for having a problem with it. This was, of course, before I knew words or really understood words like scapegoating or blame shifting. And this kind of thing has gotten ignored in our culture because it's often hard to put your finger on. It's often not like overt abuse. It could just be that who you are within your family of origin is not met with an open heart, you could say. It's met with judgment, with a lot of projection, or even could just be met with kind of coldness and emptiness that is inside of the people around you. And so all of our vulnerability, our passions, our joys, our feelings, our real perspective, our will in the world are surrounded by this kind of energy. And so instead of being able to develop all of who we are, instead we develop a lot of shame and insecurity in its place. And it's because of all of the unresolved stuff of the people in our family system, all of their unfinished business. And if they don't have a way of becoming aware of it and dealing with it, then they're going to make you the problem. And so what happened for me was I was feeling this, trying to articulate it, often having a big reaction to this kind of situation in the family system. And I was just consistently treated like there was something wrong with me for this, right? I was, often told that I had a problem with irritability, that I had behavior problems, that I had anxiety. But again, really what was going on was I was just feeling all of this and reacting to it. And I desperately wanted the people around me to basically wake up so that I could stop dying inside. Now, in that fairly unfortunate situation of my side versus the side of the toxic family system, I didn't encounter many people who were truly on my side until well into adulthood. As a child, I probably did encounter a few people who saw what was going on for what it was, but felt that they couldn't do anything, and so they just stayed out of it, and I don't blame them for that at all. Mostly what I encountered were people who were distinctly against me, but they pretended to be on my side, supporting me, and I think they really believed this. I think they really drank their own Kool-Aid. And in particular here, I'm talking about mental health professionals and related experts who offer various interventions to parents that are really about controlling the kid, but ostensibly they're about supporting them, helping them with their mental health problems, etc. And so it was really about basically trying to suppress my real feelings and control my behavior. They looked at the situation as though I had the problem and I was the level at which the problem needed to be dealt with, not at the level of the family system. So they didn't treat me like a full human being that was trapped in a particular context. And I think this is essentially what is happening in a lot of child psychiatry, in a lot of psychotherapy for kids. It's what a lot of educational consultants are helping parents with. It's a lot of what happens with behavior modification, with so-called troubled teen programs, with so-called therapeutic boarding schools, wilderness therapy, etc., is basically you have these kids that are trapped in these toxic family systems. The parents don't want to be accountable. They don't have a way of working on themselves and transforming the family system, and they're not even willing to be remotely accountable for what's actually going on. And so they hire these people that basically act to break down the kid in order to adapt to that family system. And then often what happens is the kid, particularly in the most coercive interventions, but even just can happen with psychotherapy or any of these other things, is that the kid is basically forced to present a kind of a phony facade And then the parents think that, oh, wow, this intervention worked. And of course, the professionals offering those interventions believe that as well. But of course, these things don't work because the problem actually exists within the family system and the trauma that the kid is developing within that family system. And so then when there are a lot of nasty results as a result of this kind of dynamic and what these interventions are doing to these kids, then that often becomes more false evidence for this story that there's just inherently something wrong with the kid. And so this paradigm within the mental health system of individual pathology very much supports the toxic family system, as you can see here. There's another key aspect to society being against kids who come from toxic families, and that is that often the culture of these family systems may be in alignment with much of the rest of society. And so if you have kids with strong connections to themselves, strong connections to what they feel, they may not fit in with that. But then seemingly the whole world around them, within their family system and outside of their family system, will basically tell them that they're wrong and that they should abandon who they are and just adjust to the culture that they find themselves in. So for example, a lot of these families offer very conditional approval. So the way it works is the parents basically think that in order to turn you into what they think you need to be, they need to offer conditional acceptance and, when necessary, reject you in order to turn you into basically a decent human being. And they think that this is their duty as parents. So it's very much from the outside in. The problem with this, of course, is that it can leave us empty, and it doesn't allow us to develop who we really are. So we end up without purpose, often without direction in life. And often this kind of a thing is very much in alignment with a lot of with much of our culture. It can be in alignment with the mental health professionals and educational consultants that these parents hire. It's certainly in alignment with the school system. And so your real humanity basically goes by the wayside. And so it may be that the family system is not toxic by society standards, but from the kid's experience, it very much is. So these are generally some of my thoughts on how society often is against kids who come from toxic family systems. There's a lot more to this, of course, and I've talked about this in previous videos, and I'm going to talk about this in future videos. But these are just some of my general thoughts on it for now. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please share it with anybody who you think might find it helpful. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching this, and I look forward to having you for the next one.